There were always young boys at the house. And when I say young boys, I don't mean groups of boys together. There was always one. And he would spend time with them. And when I say time, he would spend perhaps maybe a week, a month, or longer, until they reach a certain age. And when I say spend time with them, they would stay in his room. And you have to remember, to anybody out there, we're speaking about a guy who's 35 years old. And these little boys, well, this at a time, not in a group, but these little boys are sleeping in this room with him. And sometimes they don't leave the room, Geraldo, in 3 days. They stay in the room for 3 days. What could they possibly be doing in a room for 3 days? Sometimes a week. And when they did ask for food or anything, the cooks would bring the food to the door, and he would reach out and grab it, and he would close the door. And you begin to wonder and think, what's going on? I have seen so many kids come to the house, and they're just overwhelmed by what we had. They were overwhelmed by just the toy store, the candy store, the game machines, and all these different things, and just the rides and things of that sort. They were overwhelmed by these things, and they were taken in by these things. And he would watch them play, and he would single out certain ones, and he would have that look on his face, that glazed look. And I stopped and asked him one time, why are you looking at him that way? What is it? And he's just laughing. So I'm just looking. I'm looking at them play. I enjoy it. Which, in fact, I'm sure he does enjoy it sometimes, them playing. But when you single out one guy like that, and that's the guy that you see that stays over, and he's there for the next several months or whatever until he reaches a certain age or whatever, that's the guy that you see. And that kind of, puzzles you. What's going on? What's happening here?
Describe that
and you
glazed
see
look.
this guy playing, and all of a sudden when you knock on Michael's bedroom door and you walk in the room, the child is entirely different. He's not the same little child.
Not the same innocent?
No, he's not the same little child anymore.
Was the glazed look a predatory look? Was it a look of, I am attracted to that one, I want that one?
I hate to sit here and say yes, but that's the impression I got. That's the impression I would always get. And that's the impression I didn't like. And that's what I didn't like seeing. And if you must remember, I wrote a book a couple of years ago because I wanted to put a stop to this. Because I knew it would come to this. And I didn't want to see Michael hurt. I thought eventually perhaps he would stop this. But when you're raised like we were in a dysfunctional family, perhaps he couldn't stop it. He had nowhere to turn. He was confused.
So in your heart of hearts,
but
you
this boy
believe...
would totally change. You have to remember he was just playful and just whatever. Then you come in the room and he's like this all of a sudden. Michael, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Nothing. The same little boy that was jumping up and down on the bed and bouncing around and having fun and, oh, let's go to the candy store, let's do this and let's do that, was entirely different. You would see him sneaking there, looking around and running to the store after a while. That was part of the property when I say store, so they won't get the wrong impression.
Right, the private stock of candy and other
goodies. It was just a big store that had everything you ever wanted as far as candies for kids.
Okay, you say that at the age of 13 he then rejected the children?
That was basically the oldest.
And the youngest?
As far as 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, from what I've seen at home.
Okay, from your own eyes, you are now saying, testifying in a way, that you saw your brother with 8 and 9-year-olds in his bedroom, staying over night after night after night. You saw that?
Yes, and not coming out of the room. Yes.
Did you ever see Michael behave, other than the glazed look, the predatory look that you described? Did you ever see him behave in an untoward or improper manner? Did he, for instance, fondle the children?
No, I've never seen him do that. No, no.
So you'd have to say you've never actually seen him molest a child?
I've never seen him do any of that. Absolutely not.
Why then are you so convinced in your heart that he's guilty?
Because of what I've seen. Because of what I know. Because of what my mother has done, because of what she showed me, because of the things that she said to me about Michael that I refused to believe at the time. I refused to believe my mother. My mother actually was screaming at me one day, and I ran to the room. I thought something was wrong, something had happened, and she was showing me this check. And I said, yes, so what about it? And she said, well, look at it. And the check, of course, was a 1 and lots of zeros behind it. And she says, Toya, this is $1 million.